Equities see broad-based selling with declining stocks far outnumbering the advancing. Industrials and utilities are the big drags while healthcare shows relative strength.
IEX CEO Rohit Bajaj tells CNBC TV 18 that the impact of coupling in the day-ahead market will be lesser than earlier expected as its share of revenue has dipped. He concedes that the charges may decline but will not see a big drop given the low traded volumes in India.
Bajaj Finance points to growth challenges as stress continues to persist in the MSME segment as well as in 2 and 3 wheelers. And though the lender sees normalization in H2 and retains its credit cost guidance, analysts fear a negative revision. The stock slips in trade.
The India-UK Free Trade Agreement is set to spark big changes for the industry with 99% of Indian exports set to attract zero duty and average tariffs on imports from UK dropping to 3% from 15%. Sectors like auto, textiles, engineering, leather, alcobev and jewellery could see an impact.
Sona BLW finds itself in the midst of a family rift with the founder's wife questioning the freak death of her son and suspecting a move to wrest control from her as the family heir. She's called for deferring the AGM by 2 weeks to allow her to gather more information on the matter.
Good afternoon, you're watching Business Lunch. We are coming to you live from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studios. I'm Hormas Fatakia. With me is Vamakshi Dhoria. Vamakshi, good afternoon. Counting down to the end of what has been, well, another forgettable trading week, if you could say that, for the bulls. But they're fighting to defend some key levels as of now.
Well, absolutely, Hormas. You know, it's 200-point downturn as far as the Nifty is concerned. The mid-cap end of the market is taking a sharper knock in today's trading session. For now, the mid-cap index is trading with a cut of almost close to 1.4%. And this sort of reflects in what is happening in the advanced decline ratio as well, with the declining stocks far outnumbering the stocks that are advancing in trade. And a lot of these moves, actually big moves, are coming on the back of earnings. They continue to dominate the headlines apart from some of the global as well as macroeconomic cues. Take a look at Tatva Chintan. That stock is up almost 16% in today's trading session. IEX, of course, is seeing a very sharp recovery after seeing a very sharp fall in the trading session yesterday. Apart from that, on the flip side, take a look at Hexaware. That stock has taken a knock of almost 8%. KFin2 down almost 6% in trade today. But Hormas, the picture for now looks grim. Most sectors declining. Is there any movie dialogue you remember on account of this?
Well, it's a Friday. The only thing that comes to mind is हार के जीतने वाले को बाजीगर कहते हैं. But if the bulls do manage to defend 24,850 on a closing basis, they would surely like to believe so. As of now, well, the index continues to hover around that 24,850 mark for sure. A 200-point cut. If numbers of Intellect Design Arena flashing at the bottom of your screen. Numbers coming in thick and fast. We just had numbers from Bajaj Finserv a few minutes earlier. Numbers from HFCL also flashing at the bottom of your screen. It's a net loss compared to a net profit from last year. So that is HFCL for you. And we'll start off with all of these broader market results now. Awaiting results from Cipla, from Bank of Baroda, from Laurus Labs more particularly, because that stock has moved almost 25% in the last 1 month, is at a 52-week high in anticipation of a strong quarter from the street. And Laurus Labs, there you can see it's still 1% lower near the lowest point of the day. But of course, you can see the 25% in a month. So you keep track of all of these results. But of course, it was IEX. It was the stock of yesterday's trade after that 30% fall. It's seen a recovery in today's session. Still, of course, mind you, it continues to remain in the FNO ban though. And let's listen in to excerpts from our exclusive conversation with the management that we had earlier in the day.
So bit early days to comment on that, but let me quickly try to rephrase what is there in the order. So CRC issued order for implementing of market coupling for day-ahead market on 23rd July, day before yesterday. And it talks about initiating the process of market coupling for day-ahead market. There are a few more elements in this order where they said that due to shorter time frame available for bid submission in real-time market, and also because of other operational complexities, coupling of real-time market will be considered at a later stage. So yes, there is going to be some impact on our business for sure. But if we see the whole thing, in the recent time, we have seen day-ahead market is not everything for us. There was a time when day-ahead market contribution in our total volume was 80-85%. But today, this number has come down to less than 35%. We would try to maintain where we are. But yes, if the competition is going to be there, definitely there could be some drop. Very difficult to put number to it. Very difficult to quantify this at this point in time. Single entity who is participant in the market, they cannot hold more than 5%. Otherwise, the window is 25%. If there is competition, there could be possible reduction. So I'm not saying that it cannot be reduced. It will take its own course.
Well, that was the management of IEX. And let's move on and focus in on Hexaware. That stock is down and out in trade, reacting to its Q2 calendar year 25 earnings, which have been below what the street was expecting. Their revenue growth was below expectations, and higher other expenses have impacted their margin. Earlier on, we spoke to R. Sri Krishna, Chief Executive Officer of Hexaware Technologies, for more on the quarter gone by. Let's listen in.
It is completely macro and cyclical. The best proof point for it is if you look at our different verticals and the growth rates of the verticals. Headline is travel 23%, financial services 16% Y&Y growth. There's one sector that is materially pulling us down. That is manufacturing and consumer, negative 11.5% Y&Y growth. That's all macros. That's all the uncertainty due to tariffs. Growth will be a little bit better in Q3, definitely, than Q2. But we've said that our growth expectation for the full year is somewhat lower now than what it was a quarter ago. We will still grow nicely in Q3. It's not going to be like an outstanding quarter that it often is in Q3 for us, but we will still grow nicely.
On to the latest with Sona BLW. Rani Kapoor, the mother of the late Sanjay Kapoor, has written to the board of Sona Comstar seeking deferment of the AGM that was scheduled for today. Now, she alleges coercion, misuse of documents and attempts to usurp the family legacy after the death of her son. Parikshit is joining in with more on this. Parikshit, what are the latest developments here? What is in that letter that Rani Kapoor has written to the board of Sona Comstar?
Well, Rani Kapoor, the mother of the late chairman of Sona Comstar, Sanjay Kapoor, has raised questions about the manner in which people were appointed to the board of directors at a time when she was mourning and not fully in control of how things were happening. She is alleging that signatures were taken from her on pieces of paper which she was not fully aware about, did not fully understand as she was grieving at that point. She's asking for the deferment of the annual general meeting, which has to ratify the appointment of Priya Sachdev Kapoor as a non-executive director on the board of directors of Sona Comstar, and also James Overley as chairman. She's saying that she wants to get her hands on all the letters, all the documentation to understand why these people have been appointed to these positions. So she is contesting this, and she is saying that in case this AGM is not deferred, and the AGM goes ahead and takes decisions to ratify these appointments of Priya Sachdev Kapoor, then she will have no choice but to take legal action. We spoke to her lawyer, who said that she doesn't have any access to any will, which says that she has to decide the successor or why Priya Sachdev Kapoor has been appointed. But we've gone through the documents of the company. The shareholding pattern suggests that almost 72% of the company is, of course, owned by public shareholders. 28% is held by Aureus Investments. Now, Aureus Investments is the promoter entity of the Sona Comstar Group. And Sanjay Kapoor was the director or was the head of this entity, Aureus Investments. You always had Priya Sachdev Kapoor as one of the directors, as one of the officials on Aureus Investments. She was on the board of directors of this entity. And the ownership pattern and the directorship pattern of Aureus Investments also shows that she has to be the director in the absence of Sanjay Kapoor. Now, the board has actually taken a decision to appoint her because she was heading the promoter entity Aureus Investments. Rani Kapoor, so to say, has about 79 shares in Sona Comstar altogether. So, legally speaking, currently, she doesn't seem to have a stake in the company until unless she has some sort of will or documentation to prove that she has to decide who Sanjay's successor has to be. But we must tell our viewers that Priya Sachdev Kapoor has been appointed as a non-executive director, someone who will be a part of the Corporate Social Responsibility Committee. She does not have a day-to-day role in the running of the company. Even Sanjay Kapoor was a non-executive chairman. He did not have a day-to-day role in the running of the company. It is currently headed by Vivek Vikram Singh, who is a CEO. The chairman of the board is James Overley, who was also on the board earlier and has now been appointed as the chairman. Today's AGM is very crucial, and we can tell our viewers that this AGM has gone ahead according to plan. Priya Sachdev Kapoor, her appointment today has to be ratified by the board. Let's see what happens over the next half an hour or so, whether there will be any response or address to the letter that Rani Kapoor has written. That remains to be seen, but any decision on that will be taken by the company because the letter has been addressed to the company, not to Priya Sachdev Kapoor directly. Priya Sachdev Kapoor, we believe, is also attending this AGM, which began at 1 p.m. in the afternoon.
Well, thanks so much for that update, Parikshit. We'll keep coming back to you for more on this as the story unfolds. But let's also listen in to what senior advocate Vaibhav Gagar, who is Rani Kapoor's counsel, had to say about these allegations. Listen in.
So Mrs. Rani Kapoor was the sole beneficiary as far as the will of Mr. Surinder Kapoor, late Shri Surinder Kapoor, is concerned, which was a registered will. You're aware that she's written a letter to the shareholders and the board of directors. She has put down on paper quite explicitly how things have transpired, how there are, serious apprehensions as far as she's concerned in terms of the circumstances leading to the death, what has unfolded immediately post that. As written in the letter as well, lots of suspicious circumstances have unfolded and are coming to light now. How various appointments were made, what the role of certain individuals that you have named in just right now, how did they come into being where they are, what were the documents which were signed, what was the manner in which they were brought about. All of these are matters which have to be looked into very carefully.
Well, that was the update we have so far on the matters going on in Sona BLW. The stock has taken a knock in today's trading session, down almost 2.7%. But let's slip into a short break. But as we do that, now it's time to recognize the champions. Get ready for an evening that honors India's most promising SMEs, the champions behind our nation's remarkable progress. From groundbreaking innovation to grassroots impact, these businesses have powered growth, inspired change, and redefined ambition. HSBC presents CNBC TV 18 SME Champion Awards Season 2. India's most coveted SME Awards platform is all set to finally announce the winners later today, 3 p.m. onwards.
Welcome back. Now, the much-awaited India-UK Free Trade Agreement has been signed. It has been in the works for over 3 years, with talks starting in January of 2022. And since then, the UK has seen a change of 4 prime ministers. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that there may be a swing and a miss, but India will always play with a straight bat. Keir Starmer, the British PM, also said that the deal will create over 2,000 British jobs. Commerce ministers of both nations signed the agreement earlier today, and the deal is estimated to boost bilateral ties between the two nations by $35 billion and bring down the tariff guardrails to a large extent.
We in fact spoke to corporate India Hongko's Sunil Bharti Mittal and Anish Shah to understand what the deal with United Kingdom means for Indian companies and which sectors are likely to benefit. Let's listen in to that conversation.
Be a very special, advantage for India to get access to technologies for its own needs, own markets, but more importantly, exporting across the world. I personally feel the bigger advantage will come from UK companies investing in India and creating bases in India, which will be high talent pool that they can access, low manufacturing cost, and make the world the market, which I can tell you, having now worked in UK for several years, is hard for UK companies to come to those levels of competitiveness that India can offer them.
all I would say is that it has been done in a manner that really strengthens the auto industry in India and is a win for both countries. That actually put the question the other way around. Is the UK car industry ready for the challenge that we will pose to them by sending cars from India?
The corporate India heads after the India-UK agreement, but Cipla's numbers flashing at the bottom of your screen. The net profit of 6,957 crore. It was compared to a CNBC TV18 poll estimate of 7,106. So marginally below expectations. The EBITDA turns out to be slightly better than what the street was expecting at 1,778. There was a 1,714 crore estimate that the CNBC TV18 poll was anticipating. It will be interesting to see what kind of number the US sales have managed to deliver this time around. The stock, though, has seen a spike towards the highs of the day, and that's Cipla. For you, one of the three nifty companies reporting results today, and margins, 21.6% on the margins front, and that is significantly lower compared to what the poll was anticipating. The poll anticipated levels of around 24%. So a margin miss that has come in on the operational front. The EBITDA is slightly better. Will be interesting to see what kind of number does the US sales figure throw up. We are still awaiting the investor presentation, but prima facie the EBITDA is marginally better than expectations. The revenues are slightly below, the net profit is slightly below expectations, and of course the margins is what is turning out to be a big miss, Vamakshi. So we are awaiting the investor presentation from Cipla, but from what I can see is that there has been a significant rise in the total expenses of the company, and of course that too.
Actually, the margins have come in at 25.56%. It's actually better than what the street was anticipating, and overall, the numbers will again flash for you on the screen. The EBITDA has also come in slightly higher as compared to the poll. There you go. The margin is at 25.6% as compared to our own poll of 24.1%. So, it's relatively better as far as the street expectations were concerned, and thereby you're seeing a spike in the stock as well.
The highest point of the day is Cipla. We'll get more details on this as the investor presentation comes in as well. But for now, it looks like an operational beat for Cipla in the first quarter. Now, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal, in an interview with CNBC, briefly touched upon where India and the US trade talks lie. Listen in to what he had to say.
I think it's a wonderful relationship that the United States and India share, a very special relationship. And I'm very confident we'll do a robust and good deal where both countries benefit and where businesses on both sides are happy. India will get a preferential tariff compared to our peers and our competitors because we were amongst the first to get into negotiations, and our discussions, our engagement is truly very, very significant.
Well, the US President Donald Trump arrived at Federal Reserve, which is the first visit by a sitting president in roughly 2 decades, to tour the site of a $2.5 billion renovation of 2 historical buildings that the White House has been criticizing. At the venue, Trump and the Fed chair had a disagreement over the renovation costs. Let's listen in.
So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added
our entire capital.
Yeah, you just added in a third building. Is what that is. That's a third building.
Well, no,
the
but
Martin building.
it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work.
But it's
So,
not new.
So we're going to take a look. We're going to see what's happening, and it's got a long way. Do you expect any more additional cost overruns?
Don't expect them. We're ready for them, but we have a little bit of a reserve that we may use, but no, we don't. We expect to be finished in 2027.
Donald Trump and Jerome Powell, the viral moment of the day. Take a short break. For now, more news and updates on the other side. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're watching Business Lunch on CNBC TV 18. Well, a couple of earnings have just come in. Cipla, of course, we mentioned, is beat as far as the margins are concerned. The stock is 2.5% higher, very sharp spike seen out there. But apart from that, take a look at Solara Active Pharma Sciences. The company reported its numbers just a short while ago. Margins have improved here from 11.5% to almost 17.8%. Solara Active Pharma is the stock that I'm talking about. It'll come up for you on the screen for now. It's a very sharp spike here. The stock is up almost 7.5%. In fact, earlier on, when the when the results had just come in, the stock has surged to a day's high of almost 11%. Apart from that, take a look at Sharda Crop as well. The company reported its numbers just at the beginning of this show. The stock continues to trade with a gain of almost 8%. Now, let me just point out a few other stocks as well. Many stocks in an otherwise weak market have managed to hit a 52-week high. One such stock is eClerx Services. That stock is trading higher by almost 2%. But that's all we have on this edition of Business Lunch. We're leaving you with the Nifty with a 200-point cut. Mid-cap radar will now come up next to take the action forward. Stay tuned.